biggest controversies facing the medical profession today is the use of natural substances such as insulin and interferon. For more than 2 decades, one doctor has fought to overcome problems in getting these substances to the people who really need them. Dr. Stephen DeFelice joins us now in our New York bureau to talk more about his efforts. Dr. DeFelice, just what has been the problem?
The problem has basically been twofold. One, our Congress has been primarily concerned with drugs, those things which the chemist makes synthetically and which is unnatural. We've forgotten, however, that natural substances have the finest track record in medical history, and that we are all living here today because natural substances defend animals, defend plants, defend humans against viruses, the plague, the sun's rays, etc.
What about the medical profession itself? Is it willing to go all out to further your efforts?
Well, this is something I'm going to try to find out, because basically I think the Congress is not inclined to do what is necessary to encourage research and development in natural substances. So what I will do is call on my distinguished colleagues to volunteer, i.e. become human guinea pigs, in order to be able to test more substances more freely outside of the authority of the Food and Drug Administration. Congress will not do this. We have to have someone volunteer, and I think physicians are the appropriate people to do so.
Why do you think there is a lack of interest or opposition to the use of natural substances?
I don't know. I think there is a lack of interest generally, except for those people who are into nutrition and are forced to go to the health food stores in order to find the promise of nature. However, I believe we need an educational beginning, because the Congress is not aware of it, the physicians aren't aware of it. It seems as if the consumer is, but the poor consumer has no representative. And the sooner we test these things, the more therapies we'll get, the more cures for all the diseases that we have will come, I think, kind of rapidly. But I think it's going to be up to physicians to volunteer for human experimentation.
Could you give us some examples of the natural substances that you think should be made available to the public as remedies?
Oh, there are tons of them. There are tons of them. For example, right now we're working with brain extracts. Now, don't become alarmed. A brain extract is a very, very scientific thing. And this brain extract, for example, creates the growth of damaged nerves, which is very, very unusual. So we are beginning to do studies here in the United States in stroke, in spinal cord injury, various neurologic diseases. Now, the promise is there. I'm not saying that it works, but that's just one example. There are many other examples. We're studying another brain extract for Alzheimer's disease. I don't know whether it's going to work, but at least we have the chance to do it. Block that chance, i.e. excessive federal control over research, no one will do much clinical research, which is the essence of creativity in medicine.
Doctor, in some cases, is it true that some of these natural ingredients could be too powerful? There's a case cited by Dr. Raymond Hogan of Indiana University that a woman who had taken homemade herbal tea in great quantities suffered abnormal menstrual bleeding, and then when she stopped taking the tea, it stopped.
All substances in excess can be harmful, ranging from coffee to aspirin, etc. The answer to your question is yes. However, if you have a little bit of animal data and a little bit of know-how, most clinical research, or we call it human experimentation these days, is relatively safe. And I think most of my colleagues would agree on that issue.
Do you think that the study of natural substances should be regulated just the way the studies of drugs are?
No, and that's precisely what I'm going to call upon the Congress to do, is to deregulate clinical research in the early phases. That is the original testing of a substance for a disease. So it will be easy, less costly, less legal risk, and more substances will be tested. If we find that something does work in Alzheimer's disease, then the Food and Drug Administration should step in. But with natural substances alone, I don't think Congress will do this with drugs.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Talking about natural substances this morning, Dr. Stephen DeFelice, former Chief of Pharmacology at Walter Reed Army Institute. Thank you for being with us this morning, Doctor.